Good morning, rise and shine to the morning momentum. This is your daily companion of a comprehensive rundown of local and international news, in-depth analysis of current affairs and expert opinion. My name is Alphonse Ouma. The hashtag is the morning momentum at Younib Media TV at Alfonso Albakwekwe. Let's take a look at the top stories making the headlines on the papers this morning. We start with the Daily Nation. Civil servants reject SHA deal is the headline on the front page. Now, health workers enjoyed comprehensive medical cover under the now defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund, and civil servants have warned of a strike beginning March 18th if the government fails to address their grievances on the new medical scheme run by the Social Health Authority, saying they are being forced to fundraise to meet their medical needs because the state runs a scheme that is not working. That story is beefed up for you on page 4 and page 5 of the Nation this morning. On page 7, 3 ODM lawmakers from Nairobi skipped the first leg of President's executive tour of the Eastleigh capital yesterday, pointing to a possible political defiance against their cooperation deal. That is all about Unity Test, where Raila men skipped Ruto's tour of Nairobi yesterday. Let's take a look at page 12, ranchers 17 billion shillings windfall after winning land battle. On page 10, alcohol, drugs and friendly fire. Questions continue to mount on why officers are armed with service issue weapons when off duty and drinking in bars. National Police Service standing orders require that all officers must return their guns to the armory when not on duty. On page 2, national news, teachers dismissal by TSC for flirting with girl on Instagram upheld. Tutor also sexually abused the learner in an office inside the school's computer laboratory. You want to catch up with that on page 2. Let's get up close and candid with the Daily Nation. On page 2 this morning, tutor once set free in defilement case gets 25 years in prison. Now, a primary school teacher who preyed on young girls after exposing them to pornographic videos has been jailed for 25 years. The High Court in Mombasa ruled that the prosecution had proved that Joseph Okumbe sexually assaulted a 10-year-old child on diverse dates between October 12th and 19, 2020 in the school's compound in Kisauni. Also still on page 2, teachers sacking over love messages to schoolgirl upheld. Court finds that due procedure was followed before sacking, and the sacked teacher was accused of sending inappropriate messages on Instagram. That story is augmented for you on page 2. Let's take a look at page 3. I will accelerate digital transformation, strengthen nation brand, says a new CEO. Seasoned investment banker to lay in on experience in the financial sector and capital markets to accelerate growth. Let's move on and take a look at page 4. Civil servants reject Social Health Authority, warn of work boycott. Now, private hospitals lobby had directed members to stop accepting patients under SHA, but rescinded the decision after President promised payment of arrears. Workers enjoyed comprehensive medical cover under the now defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund. Civil servants have warned of a strike beginning March 18th if the government fails to address their grievances on the new medical scheme run by the Social Health Authority. Representatives of civil servants and medics have told MPs their members in the national and county governments are now being forced to fundraise to meet their medical needs because the state-run scheme is not working. That story is augmented for you on page 4 and page 5. Let's take a look at page 6. Treasury's 2 billion data hub blunder. A recent site visit by MPs revealed 100 million shillings equipment had been stolen or vandalized. A contract of 782 million shillings was awarded to a company for the project initially expected to be ready in 96 weeks. At a glance, the role of Data Recovery Center is a data recovery center is a specialized location where critical digitized government data that has been lost, accidentally deleted or corrupted can be retrieved. It is important to Kenya because the government has already digitized over 12,000 services, while another 2,872 services have been partially onboarded on the digital platform dubbed eCitizen. Now, should data contained in the government eCitizen platform get accidentally deleted, corrupted, or made inaccessible, a data recovery center can help to swiftly retrieve all the lost data. It is critical to enhance recovery of critical digitized government data. You will catch up with that on page 6. On page 7 this morning, Unity test. 3 Raila men skip Ruto's city tour. Now, President visited Kamkunji constituency to launch development projects and popularize Cooperation Pact. Babu, Wanyonyi, and Sifuna were no shows after the signing of a bi-party agreement on Friday. You'll catch up with that on page 7. Let's take a look at page 8. Kenya spent 524 million shillings on Raila's failed AUC bid. National Assembly Committee says money was spent on, among others, chartering an aircraft. Mr. Odinga lost the African Union Commission chairmanship to Djibouti candidate. Now, Kenya spent 523.85 million shillings on former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's failed bid for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission. Data submitted to Parliament shows. The Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee yesterday disclosed that the National Treasury approved the withdrawal of money under Article 223 of the Constitution. Committee Chairman Nelson Koech told the National Assembly Liaison Committee that the money was spent on chartering aircraft, hotel accommodation, airport transfers, and publicity and awareness creation. You want to catch up with that on page 8. Let's move on and take a look at page 9 this morning, or page 10 rather. Alcohol, drugs, and friendly fire. Elite police turn guns on their colleagues. Now, police spokesman says, quote unquote, these are just sad and isolated cases. In the latest case, an officer went berserk and shot revelers at Gigiri police station canteen, killing 1 person. When referee Anthony Taylor blew his whistle after 97 minutes of intense football at Old Trafford, the 3rd biggest stadium in England by capacity, home team Manchester United and Arsenal settled for a draw in an English Premier League fixture that always attracts millions of viewers worldwide. Back at home, the Gigiri police station canteen corporal Philip Kai, Limo Kipkosgei and Eric Munga were among the millions of viewers who watched the football spectacle. Patrons at the canteen started analyzing the match results while others made merry. All hell broke loose as Mr. Kipkosgei drew his Seska pistol and began shooting indiscriminately. You will catch up with more of those insights on page 10. The rules say that off-duty officers are not supposed to have guns. So the big question remains, why was he having a gun while off duty? Let's take a look at page 12. Ranchers 17 billion shillings windfall after Kajiado land battle with community. Hamanus Stein thought Nguruman Limited acquired the 66,700 acres across Narok and Kajiado in 1983. Land dispute has been in the courts for the past 34 years, with the Interior Ministry and Masai Morans at the center of it. You will catch up with that on page 12. Let's take a look at page 14. Kenya now assures refugees of support amid US aid cuts. Murkomen meets with envoys and bankers. Protests in Kakuma camp last week were due to food shortage. Let's delve a little bit into that. Refugees living in Kenya's settlement camps will no longer have to worry about food rations, with donors including the US affirming their support for humanitarian aid to meet their needs and those of asylum seekers in the country. This was announced yesterday by Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen during a meeting with ambassadors. On page 15 this morning, why MPs want 2023 KDF enlisting probed. Legislator says a constituent was distressed and Senate Security and Defense Committee look into discrepancies. The ghost of the controversial 2023 KDF recruitment could come back to haunt high-ranking officers involved in the exercise, with lawmakers pushing for investigations. The Senate tasked its National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations Committee to look into recruitment discrepancies witnessed during the exercise. Awakening the past ghost, Kajiado Senator Seki Lenku said the committee chaired by Isiolo Senator Fatuma Duro should inquire into malpractices that marred the exercise. He cited the case of one Ruben Gige Mudhoni from Ngaimurunya in Kajiado North, who suffered the agony of missing out on joining the forces despite being shortlisted and subsequently issued with a confirmation letter. You want to catch up with more of those insights on page 15. Let's take a look at the expert opinion now. ODM-UDA agreement starkly similar to 2018 handshake. Just as it was on that Friday in March 2018, the air was filled with pledges to bury divisive politics and prioritize the people and their issues. You want to catch up with the expert opinion on page 16. Is there anything different from 2018 handshake and now the handshake between ODM and UDA? You'll catch up with that on page 16. On page 17 this morning, poster child of crippled revolt. The questions asked are universal on issues affecting all of Kenya. They will not go away despite all the ethnic profiling propaganda. You want to catch up with those sentiments by Macharia Guide on page 17. Now, on the DN2 article this morning, Powering SMEs, it's all about building electric mkokoteni. Now, a professor has built an electric mkokoteni. Such an amazing story. You will catch up with that on the DN2 article, Powering SMEs. Let's move on and take a look at more stories. That takes us to county news. Now, we start with Murang'a County. Why woman wants politician husband to be declared dead. Wairimu says it's 18 years since he went missing and she needs to begin the succession process. Samuel Gitau vanished from his home after receiving a phone call from an unknown person at night. Now, one night in October 2007, a front runner in the race for the councillor's position in Ithanga, Murang'a County, retired home after a grueling day on the campaign trail. 3 months to the general election, an opinion poll by local political lobby group Gatanga 2007 Watch ranked Mr. Samuel Gitau top in the contest with 58%. He came home accompanied by 5 men who were part of his security during the campaign period, and he was served with rice and beef stew. After that, he gave the daily stipend and left around midnight. Ms. Wairimu said her husband took a bath and was about to join her in bed when his phone rang. So more of those insights are beefed up for you on page 21 on why the woman wants the husband to be declared dead since his disappearance in 2007. Let's take a look at more stories. Pyrethrum farm lacks title deeds for 1 billion shillings land. Taxpayers could lose millions of shillings thanks to systemic mismanagement of the Nakuru-based farm. You'll catch up with more insights on that also on page 22. In Machakos County, Governor urges women rep to scale higher in leadership. Governor Wavinya Ndeti has called on women to support each other to rise in professions and leadership. She said at the Eco Network Africa Foundation offices on Ngong Road, Nairobi, that women had the numbers and the training to excel in leadership. I quote her, "In Machakos, we are blessed to have made significant strides in some elective posts, but in some areas the situation is dire. We have a woman governor, a woman senator, and of course a woman representative," end of quote. Now, still on page 22 this morning, fear grips Meru village as gang terrorizes residents. When James Murithi and his wife Beatrice Kamami, now deceased, left for separate farms on Wednesday last week, they hoped to return home with a good harvest. However, this was not to be, as Kamami was shot with an arrow at around 6 p.m. as she walked back home alongside 2 other women. More insights on page 22. Let's take a look at the international scene this morning. Israel's hold to food and aid worsens Gaza conditions. Hamas says Israel actions are a form of collective punishment. Move is aimed at pressuring Hamas to make concessions in negotiations. You want to catch up with that story beefed up for you on page 24. Also this morning, Canada's incoming Prime Minister Carney faces Trump, tariffs and polls. Former central banker Mark Carney claimed a landslide victory on Sunday to lead Canada's Liberal Party and become its next prime minister, setting him up for a clash with the Donald Trump administration. You want to catch up with more of those insights on page 24 of the Daily Nation this morning. Let's take a look at political tension now. Kabila's allies to be questioned by military prosecutor. Officials from the Party of Democratic Republic of Congo's former president Joseph Kabila were invited to appear before a military prosecutor yesterday in a sign of political tensions over Rwanda-backed rebels advanced in the east. The exact reason for the invitations was not clear, said Jean Mbuyu, a lawyer for the officials and former security advisor to Kabila. Let's shift gears and take a look at business news now. Food cheapest in Nyanza, cost official data shows. Now, latest data shows that consumers are the cost paid the least for essential goods, and Treasury data indicates inflation hit 6 months high in February. The digit stands at 3.5%, and that is Kenya's inflation rate recorded in February compared to 6.3% last year. Briefly, in the advisory, SBM Bank unveils business hubs for small enterprises. SBM Bank Kenya has launched 3 business hubs in Nairobi to help nurture small and medium enterprises. The hubs are in Nairobi's Central Business District, Kilimani, and Karen. The lender says the initiative aims to create thriving businesses by providing spaces for financial advisory sessions, business clinics, and capacity building. The hubs will also offer workspaces where SMEs can meet with customers and business partners. Now, in the finance sector, EAPC default on taxes, pension rises to 4.4 billion shillings. Now, East Africa Portland Cement PLC and remitted tax, dividend and statutory obligations rose to 4.4 billion shillings by June 2024 from 2.36 billion shillings a year earlier, exposing the company to higher penalties and interest charges. A review of the company's books by the Auditor General shows an escalation of the liabilities, some of which dates back years and are subject to court action between the company and the Kenya Revenue Authority. Let's take a look at sports news now. We start with golf. Lejirma secures Windsor Classic title. Now, national team captain John Jirma overcame a strong challenge from Kiambu's rising star Elvis Muigwa to claim the NCBA Windsor Classic Golf Hotel and Country Club on Sunday. The Kenya Railway golf-based golfer bounced back from an early double bogey on the front 9 with birdies at the 9th, along with 2 earlier birdies to finish under par. You want to catch up with more of those insights on page 33. On the IBA Women's World Championships, Brave Mbithe stretches Kazakh champ Chege and Akinyi progress. Kenyan boxer picks positives after lasting the distance. Kenya's Lensa Akinyi will face homegirl Javanovic Dragana in round of 16 boot. That story is on page 33. Let's shift gears and take a look at the WRC. Now 60 rallies and counting. Edward Maina's legacy. During last year's edition, his car rolled several times but escaped with minor injuries. He competes not for the wealth and fame, but for the love of sport. That story is beefed up for you on page 34. Let's take a look at football now. SRC, we are in the dark over McCarthy's salary. His first match will be away to the Gambia in 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. The South African legend was unveiled on a 2-year deal until the 2027 AFCON finals. Now, uncertainty continues to surround the salary payment of new Harambee Stars coach Benny McCarthy, with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission stating that the matter does not fall within its mandate. McCarthy's salary, along with that of his 3 backroom staff, remains undisclosed as the Football Kenya Federation has yet to reveal their monthly earnings. You want to catch up with more of those insights on page 35. On the cover page of the Daily Nation this morning, how financial deprivation, neglect brought down Technical University of Kenya. Institution was closed indefinitely following lecturers' strike, and university owes billions in statutory deductions and payments to third parties. Now, the Kenya Polytechnic was the first national polytechnic in the country. In its glory days, it was the go-to middle-level institution for acquisition of technical skills that were highly valued by employers. The Polytechnic graduates fabulously competed in the job market with university graduates and at times outdid the degree holders. However, since it was converted into a university, the institute has faced challenges that now threatens its survival. Also on the cover page this morning, counties bid to join cares on scholarship scam flops. The Uasin Gishu county government has lost its bid to join the Finland scholarship case as an interested party after the court dismissed its application. Principal Magistrate Peter Ndege, in his ruling yesterday, said the county appeared to have abandoned the application after it failed to prosecute it. With that story of Uasin Gishu County bid to join case on scholarship scam flopping, we come to the tail end of the morning momentum this 11th day of March 2025. Thank you so much for keeping us company and for choosing to watch the best youth television network in East and Central Africa. Our heartfelt gratitude also goes to all those who made this broadcast a success. Behind the lens this morning has been Elias Muchina, and the chief controller has been Peninah Wachera. My name is Alphonce Ouma. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, do have a beautiful Tuesday ahead of you. Bye-bye.
Audio Jungle.